Namaste, everyone. So, today, Lee, it is wonderful to see you after so many years. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you very much for
are
all
you
the
in
work.
Toronto now?
Yes, I am in Toronto.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. By the way, let me introduce Lee to all of you. She has been a person who has been working for cancer related therapy in yoga, with yoga therapy for cancer for a long time. I have met her on multiple occasions at Kaivalyadham, going back many years back. And she's based out of Toronto and used to visit India often. And she was running the yoga therapy program for cancer in Kaivalyadham. So, Stomaji, would you like to add something, or Lee, would you like to add something?
Sure, I'll add something. Might as well gild the lily a little more. I also met Lee on many of the same occasions at Kailatham, and we had quite a wonderful discussion about how to assess the emotional maturity of yoga teachers that we were trying to develop examinations for. It was a very interesting discussion that put me on track for evaluating a way to do that. So it was lovely. And since then, we've had a chance to collaborate on a couple of other projects. I did a foreword for a book that she wrote with Ananda Bhavnani on yoga therapy, a whole person approach, which is a wonderful book for any of you who are interested in yoga therapy. The first part of the book is wonderful theoretical essays by Ananda, and then Lee talks about the workshop that she developed for cancer survivors, which is just superb. Part of what came out of that work was she had the experience of realizing that the medical system drops cancer patients at their lowest emotional point when the physical treatment is finished, and there's still a lot of emotional healing to do, particularly in terms of the trauma that cancer represents for people. And very often they're just sort of left alone at that point. There's nobody there because there's no physical treatment happening. And so she designed a yoga workshop to work with that. And it's been a very successful effort. And she has trained people all over the place to do this workshop. So I've enjoyed so much working with Lee, and we've been doing some work together also with the International Association of Yoga Therapy on some of their ethical principles, and doing our best to sort of try to keep that organization on its principles and out of the cash register. Let's put it that way.
Stomaji, can you put your that book reference you made right in the chat box? Somebody's
Sure.
asking for it,
Yep, I
so
will
they
do
can
that.
all have it. Oh, there it is.
I
Yoga
already
therapy, a
did.
whole person approach to health that Lee has already put in for everyone. Okay, so there you go. So, Lee, would you like to add anything before we begin? You're muted.
Uh, I'm blushing. I don't know if I could. I deserved all the accolades. I've spent 6 years in India at Kavailadam, and that has been a very formative period of my life. And I'm so happy that I'm able to come back to this Zoom webinar, which puts me in touch with, I so miss that, as Sama said, that, non-business approach to yoga and appreciation of deeper layers of yoga, which is so missing in the West. And Stoma and I are working on now on putting back spirituality into yoga at IYT. And I am in the process of writing a book on spirituality in yoga therapy, which actually brings me to one suggestion or one deep request. In next seminar, you have pranayama, spirituality of pranayama, as a theme. I was wondering whether you would be able to put spirituality in yoga therapy or in yoga. It would be such a great help for me to have your input from this panel on what it means to respect that deeper layer of yoga. Just my request.
Yes, actually, we can do all of that, but let's make sure that we have it correct. The month of March is integrative health, swasthya, spirit, mind, and body.
Yeah, perfect.
That stopped. My Zoom does this to me sometimes. Okay, can you see it now?
Right.
Yeah. So March is integrative health, swasthya, spirit, mind, body. And April is spiritual aspects of breathing practices.
Right.
And Lee, I think you're referring to making that as spiritual aspects of yoga practices. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what it is we can make that change. Stomaji and everybody, is that good to make that change?
Sure.
Yes, our key intent was specifically that. So, Lee, would you like to be the person who will introduce that subject on that in April?
Oh my God! Not in this panel.
Okay.
Like it would be talking to fish about the water.
No. The thing is, you see, the key, the seminar here is something that how it emanated was that people who are practicing yoga for various reasons related to health of the body, mind, and spirit, they have always, when they come into critical junctures in life, they want to understand their experiences relative to where yoga leads them. So this is a conversation over here. So we must be doing something right because, I have just come back a couple of weeks back from Dubai and India, and I don't see our good friend Sanjeev Krishna from Dubai over here. But my good friends, what is his name? Ashok Thareja, he's not here. But when we met in the Yoga Institute with Hansaji Yogendra, who is the current president of the Indian Yoga Association, she said something which was not the case when I met her last time 7 years back. That is, on a daily basis, she has a 10-minute podcast or video cast where she's talking to people about leading a healthy life and common this thing. And there is a forum whereby she can get feedback from people also. So that way, each day she speaks on the subject that, people are asking questions about. So she has done this as a daily thing now. And of course, we started this, almost 2 years back, where we started this as a forum to engage people so that we can answer their questions. So the topics we have laid out over here, it is not meant as a presentation. It is more meant as a parameter for people to kind of explore within themselves what questions they may have so that they can come and ask the questions over here. Okay. So this is a very different platform. It's not a presentation platform.
Okay, yeah. Then I can do it.
Okay, so now with that as this thing, now we have spent 10 minutes in all the introduction conversation, but today's topic is mechanism of yoga. So would anybody like to lead to talk about the mechanism of yoga? Okay, then in that, Tomaji, go ahead.
I'm a little unsure what we meant by that title.
No problem. So what I will do is I will take a lead over here and make a short presentation on the mechanism of yoga. And what I will be doing is I will share a few PowerPoint slides over here. So Yeah, we'll start with this slide over here. Hopefully it won't give me trouble once I put it in PowerPoint mode. Okay. So let's start with the the nature of existence according to yoga. And let me do oh, okay. So now you can see the full slide over there. So the mechanism of yoga, or rather the mechanism of yoga, we need to begin the discussion with about what is the nature of existence according to yoga. So it all starts from creator, and the creator is called Ishvara in yoga. It could well be God, it could be Yahweh, it could be Allah, it doesn't matter whichever tradition you come from. And out of that God comes the initial program for creation that is called Prakriti. In the Yoga Sutras, the Prakriti bundles together many key elements together. Namely, Prakriti is viewed as the generator of the initial cosmic program of creation. And that one cosmic program of creation, that Eka Chitta, multiplies into many of them, Anekesham, as is said in the fourth pada of the Yoga Sutras. So it creates many, many individual chittas. They could be animate or inanimate. It could be as much as a grain of sand or a tree or a human being. All of them are part of those multiple chittas that come through. But in the diagram here, you see a little more broken aspect, because when one combines Sankhya knowledge along with Yoga Sutras, the Sankhya goes into a little more details, that the Prakriti is the carrier of the intent of Ishvara, whereas on the other hand, the first creation is the cosmic processor. The Chitta as a processor is distinct and different between the carrier of the intent or the program. A processor simply takes input and produces output. So the program that is fed by coming from Ishvara through Prakriti, that is fed into the processor, results in more chittas with their own attached programs being built. And among the and from the individual entities that are created at the spiritual level, so the red box over there, zone B, is at the spiritual level. It gets manifested in the physical world. First as subtle vibrations, and those subtle vibrations are things which in an Ayurvedic perspective or Chinese medicine, traditional medicine, they try to feel it in you with 3-finger pulse vibrations in your wrist, below the wrist, in your arm, forearm. Now, whereas these days we have instruments like the electrophotonic imaging and other instruments that are trying to assess your subtle vibration. So in a scientific way, we understand the subtle vibrations that enter the three-dimensional world are in the nature of electromagnetic vibrations. And that, of course, enters the gross body, and that's what makes who you are. Now, any sentient entity like each one of us, we have a direct connection with Ishvara. And as the Yoga Sutra says, that when the chitta that we have being activated by all the programs within, once we quieten it, becomes non-reactive to it, then we become aware of our higher connection into the higher zone Ishvara, which is the source of all knowledge. And from that, from an intuitive way, you can imbibe many things and go towards self-realization. The process of samyama that is described in the Yoga Sutras, the process of querying and getting answers. So now let's go very quickly to understand a slight distinction between the individual chitta or the person and the mind and the physical world. Anything that is coming into the physical world is measurable in the form of electromagnetic vibration or as whatever is happening in the gross body. Now, the mind is not within the physical world. The mind is elsewhere, but the mind does create vibrations that affect you. If in the mind there is anger, it creates a physiological presence in you, and how it affects your body and your vibration. So how do we understand the mind as distinct from the processor? Well, the mind is closely associated with the processor, and so often it is the processor is referred as the mind system. The chitta is often referred to as the mind system. So, as the Yoga Sutra says, the chitta processes the karma kleshas that are working through you. That is all the kleshas initially described in the Yoga Sutras are avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha. And those working through the processor, they create vibrations. And it is the avidya aspect that allows a person to be reactive. And the reactive element of the chitta is the mind. So the mind and the chitta together is causing many things within you. And the key element that is happening within that is that both of them affect the subtle vibration and the gross body. So now if we look in terms of the yogic concept of three bodies that is often referred to, the gross body is the sthula sharira or gross, and that is the element where allopathic medicine works. The subtle body is called the sukshma or the subtle sharira, and there you can think of it as both the mind as well as the subtle vibrations, both of them interacting together. If the mind changes instantly, immediately the subtle vibrations within you change. So both of them together do form the subtle body, and this is the zone of traditional medicine systems. As I said, it can be measured in traditional medicine with 3 fingers, and today we can do it with more sophisticated instruments like the BioWell, the electrophotonic imaging. And then the karna sharira or the causal body is where you have your karmas and kleshas all sitting over there, and that is where if any impact is done over there, it is in the zone of yoga, of tantra. And we have discussed this at earlier times. Now, if we look over here with respect to how the mechanism of yoga works, the mechanism of yoga is always working with communication. At the physical level, the communication is related to nerve response and biochemical reactions, and these are the inherent communications of the allopathic system. Whereas on the other hand, a general view of communication that applies to all aspects of communication at all the 3 bodies level are there are channels of communication, there is content or intent of communication, there is efficiency or coherence in communication, and there is energy for communication. Without energy, communication cannot work. So these are the underlying elements of communication. So now let's look at how the different elements work here in commonly with respect to therapy. In allopathic world, it is largely biochemical reactions affecting the physiology or surgical procedures to correct anatomical corrections. Now, whereas in the subtle world or subtle body understanding, it is beyond that. It is looking more at alignment of the person, the cleansing processes and detoxification and lifestyle elements. And the detoxification lifestyle elements are very interesting elements. We will get into more discussion later on, but in this discussion, I'm only laying out the parameter to understand the mechanism of yoga. And then, of course, when we go into the zone of the causal body, often you hear of people who do pranic healing, Reiki healing, and various other things where they are affecting the connection between the causal body and the physical body through subtle vibrations. And that is the place where the Tantra element of yoga works. There is an impact principle involved. Any higher level of communication coming from the causal body level will, of course, pass down smoothly down to the lower levels, unless there is a resistance from the lower level. Whereas on the other hand, anything from a lower level may result in conflicts with the higher level, and that we believe is often the source of side effects, the negative side effects that come from the lower elemental process, lower intervention processes like that of allopathic medicine. So now we can place the zone of yoga over here, and you can quickly understand over here, many of you are familiar with the aspects of yoga. This gives you an understanding of the mechanism at a certain level, and we will go into the pancha prana in a moment. But then you can understand, when we work at the gross body level, we are working at the asana and pranayama level, and essentially it does work through channels of communication, and often people talk about the marma points as being stimulated by asanas. And of course, when we work with pranayama level, we do work with the prana nadi in particular, and we'll talk about the nadis in a moment, so impacting the energy modulation in the body. In the subtle body level, we can think in terms of, again, pranayama works throughout the subtle body also. And so along with that, the pratyahara carries the content or the intent behind it along with the energy. And the dharana level is the carrier of the intent. Dharana and pratyahara can work together. And it's the dharana that is the provider of the content, where your intent is, where you focus your mind. And then, of course, in the causal body level, we are working at the samadhi level, where the dharana, dhyana, samadhi work together. And when we look at yama and niyama, the yama and niyama provides the alignment throughout. And once we get into the deeper discussion of niyama, as in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, Patanjali says, it is Ishvara Pranidhana that ultimately leads you to samadhi. So with that, I think I will stop here, but I do want to show the Panchaprana element over here. Okay. So what happens is the typically, while in yoga, in some of the documents, they talk beyond the Panchaprana, the 5 communications in the system. We limit ourselves to the 5 communications. The prana is the communication that regulates vitality in the system, and it runs along the spine, as you can see in the left diagram there. Then the middle diagram is where the udana runs through what we call as the atmanadi, and the udana runs along the front of the body, even though it curves right into the top of the head, and the bottom parts of it, which are the places where siddhis are present. So that is where the udana works on, and udana is associated with our immune system, which comes from our cosmic connectivity. The samanavayu runs along the sushumna nadi, which is along the middle of the body, and that sushumna nadi is affected by the 2 side nadis, the ida and pingala. The ida we understand as your inner dimension, pingala as all the external elements that are hitting you. Both of them coming together creates who you are at each moment in time in the form of samanavayu. And in today's modern age of what they call as gene expression, we say they tell you that genes you have within, whereas on the other hand, the genes get affected by what comes externally, the epigenetic factors, and both of them melding together creates the RNA, which is what manifests as the samanavayu, or which is what we can say would be equivalent to the samanavayu, although we have no scientific validation for that. Now, out of the samanavayu, along the sushumna nadi, there are the chakras, and out of each one of the chakras, there are the communications that go to different parts of the body. The ones governing the physical tissue is the apanavayu, and the ones governing the fluid process in the body is the vyana. So that gives you a little bit of exposure on the mechanism of yoga. So having laid that out as a framework for discussion, now we can proceed further with respect to any questions or how. Somaji, would you like to add anything, or anybody else want to add anything?
Yeah, that's a nicely laid out schema for that. In fact, at some point, I'd love to get those PowerPoint slides from you.
Certainly.
Because I think that way of dividing up the domains of what we do in yoga makes a lot of sense. It's also very much in harmony with the schema of medicine presented by the physicist Amit Goswami in his book, The Quantum Doctor, where he talks about different levels of medicine. And that top level is what he would describe as quantum healing, the sort of quantum healing that, what's his face? The big Indian doctor.
Deepak Chopra?
Chopra, yeah. That's what Deepak Chopra talks about, for example. And he cites examples of spontaneous remissions of cancer, for example, that happened in Chopra's practice. And there's so many stories of that sort of thing, where people figure out a way to access the quantum level of healing, and all of a sudden, the cancer clears up for a reason that nobody can really understand. So I think this is a really interesting way to sort of look at different levels of intervention, and really good. The book, I'll put the book here in the chat for you all.
If there are no questions or anything for people to motivate further discussion, I will lay out a few more thoughts for you. You see, for common people, it is interesting to think in terms of, our cosmic connection and how we get cosmically connected and how we heal. However, that remains something at an academic and mental level. When it comes to actual people leading their life, for them, there is something else that is more important. And this is something in our recent trip to India, after having met with a number of people in the field of Ayurveda, and having maybe nature wanted to educate me on something else which I had not focused on previously. I was always focused on people to realize their meditative connection and their higher connectivity. The thing that we realized is purification begins from the lowest level. So when we are talking of purifications, working with asana pranayama, that is very interesting. But in the Ayurvedic and some of the, what I call traditional medicine zone, they talk about detoxification. And Lee is somebody whom I have heard speak about this quite often, about detoxification. And what is very interesting was, we met two categories of people. There was one person, a 76-year-old man who is now based in Dubai, and he has two places based in Dubai as well as Qatar. And this man has a electronics business where he supplies parts to the oil and natural gas industry. Okay, and this man, he's now 76 years old, as I said. Some 15, 16 years back, he became diabetic. And he was advised by somebody, if you get into an organic diet, you will get over your diabetes. Okay? And so he became completely organic. By the way, he's not a vegetarian. Okay? So he will eat fish and whatever, poultry, all of that he will eat. So the thing is, he went into the organic diet, and a few months later, he was completely free of diabetes, free of all medications. So what this man did was, for his own purpose, he is from Kerala. And so he bought some land in Kerala and created an organic farm for his own purpose. And then people started asking for more organic stuff. So he bought more land, and now he runs a 60-acre farm over there, where he has a fish pond, where the water gets filtered out, and the fish poop becomes the fertilizer for the vegetable he's growing there, and the filtered water is going back into the fish pond. And at the same time, he has a chicken coop over there where the chicken poop comes over there to fertilize. He has cows over there. The dairy that comes, the dung comes into the fertilization. And he has created an ecosystem that one feeds the other. And of course, he probably knows about crop rotations and things like that, whatever. So he grows rice over there. And all the vegetables and fish, as I said, poultry, everything over there, dairy, everything is there right within the farm. So when we went there, he had prepared a very nice organic meal, and he knew I was coming, so it was all vegetarian, no onion, no garlic, and it was a wonderful meal that he served us over there. But the key point is that organic diet detoxified him to the point where he was able to overcome his illness, his diabetes. The second thing I want to share with you is that as I said, God must have wanted me to learn all of this. So all of these, even without me looking for it, presented themselves in front of me. So in Dubai, when we were there in the conference, the 3-day conference, there was a particular booth over there in the exhibition area where these people, there was this, it had the nameplate on the top called Nirvikar Ayurveda Hospital. And this is a place from Pune in India, in Maharashtra, very close to Lonavala. Now, the doctor was there, a person called Nilesh Londe, but then there was associated with him another person who was in that booth, a person called Suresh Jadhav, and this man apparently makes these tools for Ayurvedic practices. And one of the tools that he had over there was, actually, I wish I could show you a picture of that. Let's see if I can find one. So if I go over here and put the name Pada Abhyanga machine, yeah. Oh. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so here I have the machine over here. I'm going to share the screen again. Let's see if it comes through. Okay, so you see that on the right hand side, a little kind of a machine, and you have a plate on the top over there. Oh, you're not able to see
Yeah,
it.
I
Sorry.
can't see it.
Oh, you can see it, right?
Not yet.
We can.
Not yet. 1 second. The Zoom, no, it didn't share. Let me close this and do it again. No, it didn't share again. Okay, it's unwilling to share. Now, would any of you like to look for the, do a search over there, Pada Abhyanga machine?
Is it more of a foot massage?
That's right. But please, if you have the machine, place it on the, share the screen,
I'll
and
share,
let's see if it will come.
I'll share it.
Okay. My machine, the only way I can do it is I have to log off and log in again.
See, it's not coming. There it is. Is that what it is?
No. I just put in there Pada Abhyanga machine. That doesn't look like a machine. That looks like fingers.
Pada Abhyanga.
Go down. Scroll down. Okay, scroll down.
Maybe I don't have it then.
No. Go down. Okay, that Pada Abhyanga machine. You see that? Pick the machine. Click on anyone that says machine. You're going too fast.
Okay.
Go further down. Okay.
There is one here.
Yeah, go further down. Okay, 1 second. So you see over there, Pada Abhyanga machine tools. Click on that, right down below there.
Oh, I see.
Okay, go down. Actually, on the top over there is select images. Select images on the top. Okay. Ah, there you have on the left-hand side that orange stuff. No, that one. Click on that.
Okay.
Okay, that is a thing that you can see. You see over there, the feet are placed on a bronze plate over there, which a little hump in the middle, and so the your feet, where you have the arch of the feet, fits into that hump, and it circulates over there for 5 minutes in one direction, 5 minutes in the other direction, and when you do that, what happens is, for most people, black stuff comes out of it. Actually, if you scroll down a little bit further down, Ratna, see over there on the left-hand side, how much black has come out over there.
Shall I click here?
Yeah, click over there. See how much black stuff has come out of it. And this, we believe, is toxin release. When this happened in Dubai, what happened was somebody came and told me, and so I went into that booth and tested it. And we had our biowell equipment with us, electrophotonic imaging. So since they were demonstrating to people and there was a walking traffic that was coming over there, what we did was we did a pre-post reading on 22 people who came, so that we had a nice data set over there of pre-post reading. And we actually found that for like 7 or 8 people, the immune system improved. And for some 10 to 12 people, the liver and kidney became more active, expelling unwanted stuff. Okay? So it made us believe that it is indeed working. And so what we did was, we picked up one of those machines and we brought it back to the US. And it's right here sitting in my home. And every day I'm doing the pre-post effect on it. And it has been only like about 7 or 8 days. I have worked with it, or 9 days. And in the meantime, our research group, when we came together, we realized that there were many other systems that were available for detox to do this. Okay? And so, Ratna, can you go over there and put in a search over there on that search, this thing? Search panel over there, put in the term detox foot bath. Foot bath, foot soak. Or bath, yeah, foot soak, that's fine. Okay, so you see over there, click on that ionic detox, the second one, second one, yeah, click on that. Okay, so what you see over here is, there is go further a little down. They're good. You see those black cylinder kind of stuff right in the bottom left-hand corner of the picture? That is an ionizer. That ionizer gets hooked on to that little white, circular thing that you see over there, like a disc over there. And that disc stays outside the water. And the ionizer gets soaked into the water. And you put a teaspoon of salt inside it. And you keep it for half an hour. As it goes through, in about 5 to 10 minutes, it will become brown. And in about 30 minutes, for most people, it becomes jet black. Okay? And so we tested it, and we have been taking pre-post readings. Okay? And we started doing this only in the last 3-4 days. So we do see it is working, but we don't know what it is until we have full data available for us. We cannot tell. But there is one thing I'm going to tell you. You can stop sharing, Ratna. So one thing I'm going to tell you is, I have been asthmatic for 50 plus years, okay? And the part is, anytime in the past 10, 12 years, 10 years, where we have been using this biowell reading, and we have been looking at my readings, my lungs are always hyperactive, my lungs and throat. So once I did this for half an hour and I checked, I could actually, while it was doing, I could see something was happening in my lungs, in my chest. I could feel it. And right from the legs all the way up, I could feel something happening. And when we took the pre-post reading, we could actually see how the lungs had changed, how the lungs had, I could breathe better, but also I could feel that the lung had become even more hyperactive, which happens in the healing process. So what I'm talking about over here is that for common people, what we talk of niyama, yama and niyama in our lifestyle, for common people, if they can recognize what is right for them, so that you're not creating toxins in your system by eating the wrong kind of food, which would result in inflammation in your system. And if you have a way of detoxification, and commonly in many practices they recommend you do foot bath with salt in it. But here, when you put the ionizer in it, it is even more faster and more effective. So this is considered from an Ayurvedic perspective as one kind of detox, and this is the reason why they do this abhyanga, or the oil bath, where they rub the oil on you nicely, and after soaking it in for about half an hour, you use it a way to cleanse yourself of the oil. And it was very interesting for me to see that from the head side, they do something different. Now, we have been conferring with some of our Chinese medicine colleagues, and one of the things we learned was that in China too, they use this bronze thing to do the rubbing. And what happens is, if you do the rubbing at the hand level, then in which case, for some people, black comes out, for some people, nothing comes out, and for some people, white comes out. And what is very interesting is that at the level of we talk about the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements, right? When we are talking about the 5 elements from an Ayurvedic perspective, the root chakra is supposed to be the earth element, the Swadhisthana, the water, the Manipura is the fire element, and the Anahata is the air element. Then the throat gets into the Vishuddhi element. Now the hand connects into the area related to the upper chest. And what happens is, we have intuitively sensed that for the lower elements, when they detoxify, the nadis become clearer, the black stuff comes out. And for the higher elements, when the detoxification comes up, when it removes that, white element comes out, white stuff. And then in the Ayurvedic side, what they do is, they do this head oleonation of the head with oil they put in. And after that, after it soaks in for half an hour, they put this fenugreek paste on the top. And it is recommended you leave it for about 15 to 20 minutes on the top of the head. And after that, you cleanse it off with the bath. And some of you may want to try it. It immediately creates an openness in your head, like you're ready to meditate. So it is very interesting that from a physical element basis, the detox process that actually gives the health and prepares you for the higher elevation of the meditative elevation. So this was our recent exposure in India, where we learned, and we are testing them. There'll be more, you will hear about it. And in our June newsletter, we are doing 2 newsletters in a year. In the December one went out in December, and it's there on our website. And in June, we'll have the next newsletter coming in, where we will put all the findings of our research and all of that over there for all of you to learn. I see Lee over there has raised her hand. I'm sure she has a lot to say. Please go ahead, Lee.
Actually, no, I don't. I have always more questions than answers. But what I was going to suggest is, with your healing experiments, perhaps it would be prudent to do pre and post heavy metal test. Just because heavy metals is, with all of us who live in cities or in bigger dwellings. Heavy metals are the most heavy, I'm missing words, influencing the body immune system and the body ability to heal. And if you can do a pre and post heavy metal test after a certain amount of your experiment healings, that would also be a good indicator of how these influence in terms of the detox. That's all.
So very interesting thought. And actually, we within our own group, we don't have anyone who has experience of having worked with heavy metal laboratories and all of these kinds of things. So maybe you can guide us later on how to do that.
I will put in a chat the lab that is in States, actually, that takes the that does the test for heavy metals. And it does a test based on urine collection, or it does the test based on your hair.
I will actually suggest to you if you can email it to me, because the chat will disappear at the end of the session. Okay. And I've put in my email address right over there for you on the chat box. So email it to me and we'll take a look at it. Okay. The very interesting thought. So now, Sundaraji, please go ahead.
I have a question. This machine that is called Santulan Ayurveda Padamhyanga Kit, it's available for $26.40 here in the US. The same machine.
Can you share your screen?
I can just show that. I don't know if you can see
No,
it.
Unless you remove your background, you cannot show it. Your background will only allow to see your face and body.
It's in the same page what Ratna had. As you go, I mean, if you go into details, it shows, say, 40%, 2640. It's exactly the same what you saw. It's called Santulan Ayurveda Padambyanga Kit.
And what does it give you? Does it give you pads to put on your feet?
Yes, there is a towel.
Okay.
There is a
So
pad,
actually, the thing is, I know what you're telling me. And actually, there are a lot of these pads available. Herbal pads, Ayurvedic pads to put in the feet. And there are the Japanese charcoal pads available to put in the feet. And what happens is, they say you put it in the feet, it's like a sticker that goes into the arch of your feet. And you sleep with it. And what people have found is the next day when you wake up in the morning, the pad has become completely black and the bottom of your feet is black. You wash it off, right? So this is something we need to test. Okay. But
this is for the lower part of the body. Is there anything like that? Just like you said, all these Padabhyanga things are more from waist down. Is there anything for the upper body?
I cannot answer this question with any degree of certainty at this time because we are still studying it, right? But in this forum, I'm only raising the point that there is a concept of physical purification leading you to be in harmony with yourself that can help you to advance spiritually also. Where previously we have always focused on the spiritual aspect coming down, but going from the physical aspect going towards spirituality is a possibility with respect to the mechanism of yoga. And so that is where I was pointing out.
Thank you.
Ratna, you want to say something? You have to unmute.
You were talking about the fenugreek. So you oil the hair and then put the fenugreek. Is that what it is?
No, what you do is you soak the fenugreek overnight. And then you put it in your blender, it will come as a nice paste. And sometimes what people do these days is they get fenugreek powder and they soak it in water with for a couple of hours or so, and it becomes like a gel, and you put it on the top of your head.
Oh, and then Wash it off after
You
some
hold
time.
it for about 15 to 20 minutes and then wash it off.
So you said that opens your ability to
It
connect.
completely opens your connectivity, this thing. It's quite amazing. I tried it.
Wow.
Dr. Rajan, actually in Kerala, having grown up in Kerala, when we are kids or even after you have a head bath, there is a powder, and I could not remember, but it does smell like fenugreek, but it also has a fragrance added to it.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
always put in the middle on the posterior fontanelle, not in the front, in the
Uh-huh.
back. And we used to use that as a routine after a head bath. So that's very customary in Kerala side.
Yeah, that's called Rasnadi Pudi. Rasnadi Pudi.
Yeah, some pudi.
Rasnadi, Rasnathi.
Uh-huh. Very interesting.
Had
A
a
lot of
fragrance though, not the fragrance of fenugreek.
a lot of people also use fenugreek, soaked fenugreek paste mixed with yogurt and put it in the top of the crown of the head. So that's a regular massage. So
This is very interesting. If you put in Rasanadi Churnam, you get it from everywhere else, everywhere, all over the world, including Banyan Botanical. Okay? There is Vaidya Ratnam Rasanadi, and there is Kerala Ayurveda Rasanadi, Kotakal Rasanadi. All of them is there. Yes.
We use fenugreek for hair, we didn't know about all this opening the head or anything, but for hair, good for hair, fenugreek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is very interesting. So
They use it in all Ayurveda practices, when in all the Ayurveda clinics or what I can say word exactly. After all the treatments, before the bath, after the bath, they use this powder.
very nice.
And basically is to avoid cold or anything. And, that is one of the things, because almost on an everyday basis, you're having a head bath.
Well,
And you're applying so much oil. So to avoid that, they put this powder. It's a very, very common practice, as Sunandara Kulkarni said.
Yes. So the thing is, so again, the point about this topic of mechanism of yoga is that while more often than not we were earlier focusing upon the higher aspects of yoga, connecting in the higher domain. For us now, the part of purification from the bottom up is a thing that may also be helpful. So that is the reason I brought this up in the conversation. But let's talk about larger aspects of mechanism of yoga rather than just the physical cleansing, which is where this was all going towards. So if any of you have any questions and you want to take it further elsewhere, please do.
Well, there is also psychological cleansing, mental cleansing.
Absolutely.
There is all levels of subtle energy cleansing that go after the or in at the same time as physical cleansing.
Yes.
And I mean, you read Patanjali and he tells you what to do.
Yeah.
Can I open a discussion about like cleansing? When we cleanse our energy, something occurred to me last night, and when we were doing meditation, and we came back at the end, and what came from that was, so my spirit, I'm thinking my body was calm and safe, and my spirit left my body, right? And the cleansing, and then I guess it led me to think about like other spirits that live in our body, which I imagine, how big or little can a spirit be, right? Okay. But I was thinking about like people that drink a lot, and like it's literally named spirits. Do those spirits, I know, but I really think because when you see them, they don't act the same. So I don't know. I guess I was wondering if, spirit, if that's like really spirits, do they ever come out, or how do they come? I guess that's where I was kind of open. I'm sorry.
Let me try to answer that question. I had a very wonderful friend at one time. I don't know where he is now. This person, he was of Russian background, and he was a tall, hefty character. Actually, he was not directly my friend. He was my friend's friend, and that's how I got to know him. He visited me often, and we had a lot of conversations together. So he was like, 6'4" or something like that, and very heavily built. And he used to have a mustache and a beard, and he was very fierce looking. Okay, but how my Ukrainian friend had become friend with him was that when they were in graduate school together, or undergraduate school, wherever, my friend was on the phone talking in Russian to somebody, and he heard this person talking to Russian to somebody, and my friend, being Ukrainian, knew that knew Russian, and so he went and spoke to him, and they became friends like that. And this 6'4" person, he had an extraordinary ability. Every time the students fell short of money, they would tell him, his name was Paul. Paul, can we go to the casino? And they will take Paul to the casino. And Paul would sit at a casino table playing poker. And what would happen is, the only thing needed for him to make him win was you kept a pitcher of beer over there throughout. It needed to be full all the time. One goes, the next goes, the next goes. He will just keep drinking. Okay? And what would happen is, he'll only keep winning. And at the end of, once he stops drinking, he will stop playing. Okay? And then what it'll be is, it'll be like they will go in the evening, they'll play until the early hours of the morning. There'll be a whole lot of cash that he will win. And then when he comes out, he will give the money to all the students. He won't keep anything for himself. Okay? And he will walk away. And the key part is, when I was talking to him, the key part is, for him, whatever was the element within him, alcohol is known to but take away the energy out of the channels of communication. Okay? So in other words, a certain amount of alcohol removes blockages. It is the blockages in the communication are largely because there is excess activity, confusion, and things. And what happens is, if you pull the plug on the energy, there is no way in which whatever is the program that is trying to block the system can also run, right? So the thing is, you see, in many ways, alcohol is a cleanser, but it will also cleanse good stuff along with the bad stuff. Okay? So what happens is, that is the reason, if you can learn to cleanse yourself without alcohol, it is a much better way to deal with it. But since Tammy brought the issue of spirit, I don't know whether this has any relevance to the spirit. Paul's spirit gets awakened by a little bit of alcohol because the impurities get sapped out.
Yeah, I think that helped kind of see how we get out of our own way, right? And that okay, so I guess how some people have a temper on some kind of liquors, things like that. So I guess that's kind of where I started to because I could see people, right? We're in this event that I go to, and you just watch and you're just like, what the? So I guess that's all. And coming back into my body, sometimes I wonder who's running my body, when, we get impatient and things like that, right? So who's here, that kind of stuff. So, all right. Thank you.
When did you last have your alcohol?
For me, probably, I don't know, Christmas.
Okay. How did it make you feel when you had it? How much did you have?
I had 2 margaritas.
Okay.
I felt really good. Pardon?
How did it make you feel?
Light and happy.
But how was the intuition?
I
Dull.
don't know that there was any, right?
Exactly.
And I don't
So
drink
it was
so
dull.
much. Yeah, I
For
don't think
you,
it
when
was.
you had the margarita, it didn't help you.
No, no, and I know that it's not that. It was just a social thing. So yeah, I manage that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts, questions, anyone? Okay. So we have gone through an hour, and it looks like we said so many things that people are thinking about. Yeah, but go ahead, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Go ahead. You have your hand up. Unmute yourself. You have to unmute. We don't hear you. You're on your phone, so you need to find the button to unmute.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my hand at all. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
So any other thoughts, questions? Anything you want to share? Well, Stomaji has gone off screen. Sorry. Well. I have been left.
Ajay,
Yeah.
what was the name of that hospital in Pune? Nirvakar? What?
Nirvikar Ayurveda Hospital.
Okay.
And are you going to Pune anytime soon?
No, but my family is there, so I was just going to tell them about that.
Certainly. And actually, the two doctors over there is Nilesh Londe is the husband, and the wife is Sarika Londe.
Okay.
But Sarika is the right person to go to. She's very intuitive.
Okay.
And her nadis are so much open. I was able to teach her some of our higher elements of our yogic experiences.
Okay, so Sarika Londe. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Dr. Narayan, good morning. You
Good
mentioned about you got relief from your asthma by going through these Ayurvedic Abhyanga machine cleaning of your feet.
Yeah, let me be careful. But, I was not asthmatic at all. Okay. But at the time when I was doing this. Okay. But what happened is I could feel that I could breathe deeper after I did that. But having been a chronic asthmatic for 50 years, every time when we read in our this electrophotonic imaging, I find that my lungs are always hyperactive. It never heals. This was the first time I got a reading that felt like it was healing. Yes. So that was the point I made. Yes.
Okay. So I think, the same Ayurvedic way of treating the feet, massaging, some Ayurvedic doctors say every day, whether you have a machine or not, just as you are applying the head bath, take the oil on your head. At the same time, make sure both your feet inside are also oil and massaging yourself daily before you take bath. So I think that will also help you to recover from whatever nadi dosham or anything. So it's a basic.
I agree that's a possibility. In fact, what I am looking for is something more powerful. Okay?
That's true.
What I am looking for is there are two of us here who are now testing it. And after a little bit more of initial tests, we will ask more people in our team to test some of these things. Because what I am looking for is whether this other person who is diabetic can completely get over diabetes by this. Okay? And if my lungs become completely normal, that would be another one. But the key part I'm looking for is whether there are dramatic changes that would create other than simply keeping good health. For many people, it's about being in maintaining their health, and as you say, with the right practice. But for people who have chronic issues, whether by intense detoxification, what you're talking about is regular mild detoxification. But what it here we are talking about intense detoxification, whether it can help. So Lee, we're going to say something. Please go ahead.
Talking about detox, I was diagnosed last year with atrial fibrillation, which is the imbalanced or wrong electrical messages within the heart, which lead to heart palpitations. In itself, it's not very serious, other than on the long run, it can cause the blood clots and strokes and stuff. I started to do pranayama. Before I started to do pranayama, I would have 5 to 6 incidents of AFib lasting about 6 to 12 hours. I started to do pranayama. The first month I would completely the day incident stopped, and I would have 5 or 4 incidents at night that were no longer than 10 minutes. After 2 months, I would have 1 incident a month at night, no longer than 10 minutes. This month, I had none.
Now, what pranayama did you do?
So pranayama was able to cleanse and balance my heart signals, electrical signals.
So what pranayama did you do?
So I did 20 minutes of Anuloma Viloma and 10 minutes of Brahmari, with visualization and intent of bringing the vibration into the heart and cleansing the heart.
Very interesting. Actually, the thing
I want to go to my cardiologist, and I want to have. I would love to have a halter for 3 weeks to find out if I really, because I could. AFib can be symptomatic or asymptomatic. Mine was or is symptomatic. So that means that I feel when I am in the middle of AFib. Unless I'm at night asleep, then my watch tells me that I had at 4 o'clock in the morning, I had 10 minutes of AFib.
How much of Brahmari did you do?
What?
How much of Brahmari did you do?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, and so 20 minutes.
20 minutes and 10 minutes twice a day.
Twice a day.
I'm gonna try that. I have asymptomatic AFib 100% of the time. So we'll see if it can break through that much. But that would be wonderful if it was possible.
I mean, isn't that just fantastic?
Yeah, that's incredible.
See, what it is there is a way in which we could try to understand the mechanism. But the key part is, in AFib cases, there is another one which was actually shown to impact the electrophysiology of the heart. And actually, any kind of arrhythmia. And that is this sound, Vittala, 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 Vittala. When you do ta, 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 you get the thump of the heart. And so that apparently was able to restore the correct electrophysiology of the heart over a period of time. So it is very interesting in the common aspect in what you were doing, and this Vittala is one is mindful focus, and the Brahmari is the sound vibration. And that is the common aspect between the Vittala and this one that you said. So my suspicion is that the Brahmari was probably the one that was more impactful. The Brahmari.
No, we don't know, right? We don't know. But I would love to have a halter for a month just to find out, you know, how it impacted. Do I have it at night? Because this month I had none. At least none that I know of, right? But talking about the power of pranayama is just mind-boggling.
Your cardiologist should be able to give you halter.
Yeah, I know, but I had halter for 3 days and for a week, and it didn't show anything. And I had to buy a little device that I was able to measure. You know, I'll show you. This is the device that you can buy for, I don't know, $100 or $150 that gives you ECG, that measures actually ECG in a very simple way. And it's only when, you know, I was able to feel that I have it, I measured it and I sent it off to my cardiologist. Only then he believed me that I have AFib. Anyway, so I'm on the list to ablation, but the wait list is about 8 months. So by the 8 months, I hope that I'm totally cured.
Lee, my suggestion is consider the ablation only if it is very serious and as a last resort. Because in a small percentage of cases, you know what they do in ablation? They insert a probe to burn off nerve cells that are coming from the sinoatrial node down to the AV node, right? The atrioventricle node. So when they burn off cells, sometimes they damage the tissues over there. And so that can create other problems. And in fact, if you're not feeling anything and you're feeling good, and no matter what the medical doctor tells you, if you are feeling good, you may want to think twice about, going for ablation.
There is another procedure where they put a particular shape of umbrella-shaped stent in your right atrium that protects from stroke 100%.
Yeah, because it covers that hole, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, you see, this thing about the stroke business comes as a result of a different problem. It is because of the PFO, that is the patent foramen ovale, that is there, that if there is a wobbliness of the atrium, then in which case from the right atrium, the blood can go into the left atrium. And that is where if there are any clots present. And of course, this goes into a larger discussion about why are there clots in the right that could go into the left. And that is because while there are anticoagulants in the blood, like heparin and things, at the same time, the last resort filter is actually coming through the lungs. Lungs is where the filters out all microclots that's coming through. Anyway, Sundaraji, as the doctor, wants to say something. Go ahead.
I was just saying, be on anticoagulants till you get some kind of treatment. Just don't avoid because the stroke is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on blood thinner.
Great. That's all I wanted to suggest.
Yeah. Thank you. Stoma, are you on blood thinner as well?
Yeah, I take Eliquis.
Okay. So we have gone into other kinds of discussion, which is okay. But feel free to discuss anything, because it looks like with respect to the mechanism of yoga, we have come to the end of the discussion, right?
Can I share about sharing the mechanism of yoga and the part about like unwinding and being calm? And so how you took your biowell to the fair to test the yourself and the efficacy. Last summer, I did a couple fairs. I did one this year, and I'm going to do one in May, where we have my friend of mine has a biomat. It's called, and it's not. I don't know if it takes out any of things, right? I can just read what the BioWell shows me, but it brings it's amethyst and tourmaline based mat, but it has EMF that or infrared heating, I think, something like that. That's her device. So we'll have the patients or the clients come and lie on the mat and see the change in their energy. We get to measure, from just this grounding experience in their busyness to see. And so I guess maybe just like I wanted to just share about just sharing the awareness, that our body matters instead of everything else out in the world, and how happy people were to like see that they had chakras and stuff like that.
Okay.
Sorry. But I thought that was cool. I was a little nervous about using the BioWell in public. If that
No.
would be
Use
accurate.
it for pre-post. Use it for
Yeah.
pre-post reading, but always be careful that what happens is if there are other reasons why you could get, about what I call as cloudiness in the information or potential for interference in the information, make sure you factor that. Don't jump into strong conclusions, but look at all the ways in which you can measure pre-post as a preliminary test to sense whether you need to dig deeper into the research. Once you go into research where you want it as a kind of a proper research, then it has to be within a proper environment, right?
Yes. And what I was also not using it like as something. However, I was not like really going through the results with the people because they weren't really paying clients. They were mostly paying to be on this mat. And I guess just to have the conversations about the potential of measured yoga therapy, right? For people that are on medications for things that I know we treat. So I haven't been successful yet, but we're working on it. Just so you know, my fishing pole is cast. All right. Thank you.
If there is no more things for discussion or for comments, we can close early. The key point again is the mechanism of yoga is all about purification. The purification of the nadis, lower level, higher level, and as Patanjali Muni says, by being a pure observer, you purify your nadis. And it is the purification that that becomes the foundation step for you to connect intuitively and to do your own soul searching, to make your own queries, to acquire your wisdom or the Atma Vidya.
I remember the words of my guru in response to his disciple who said, just refine your breath awareness, Sonny. All of this will come to you.
If there are no further questions, we can close early. Or any comments?
This was a very good session, very informative.
Each session will be different as we go along, as we see the various experiences.
Thanks,
Rita,
everyone.
you want to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
We underestimate the power of our breath and the connection to the inner world that we have. I want to tell you that my grandmother used to do soaking her feet into magnesium, which is Epsom salt that is rich in magnesium. And this used to help a lot to balance the energy in the feet and to cleanse also. It used to be a ritual that every week they used to have it, especially in winter when it is cold and when they had flu. They used to cleanse this way. But a very interesting session today, I learned about the fenugreek. Usually I do soak 1 teaspoon in water and drink it the next day in the morning. But I never thought to do it a paste and put it on my head. When I used to go to Kerala and do the massages, they used to put a powder that it is yellow and pink when they finish. So I think this is also a base of fenugreek, no?
That
Only difference is
raspberry
it
powder.
smells better. That powder smells better than fenugreek powder. That's the difference. But majority of is fenugreek.
Okay. They used to tell me it's good so you don't get sick when you do the massage. Thank you for tonight. It was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. So we'll see you all next month. And in the meantime, if there are any suggestions, questions, always send us an email and we'll take forward. And just so that everybody knows, at least those of you who are in the US, we have a daily yoga session twice a day on Zoom. And it is free and open for all. For people who are in other parts of the world, the time may not be suitable. One is at 7 a.m. in the morning, which works out to be in the afternoon or evening in other parts of the world, which is okay, and which you can join. And that's a mat-based yoga. And then we have a gentle chair-based yoga that is 5:30 p.m. Eastern USA time in the evening. And we have people who join from 2 time zones, Eastern USA as well as the Central Time Zone. And in fact, one person wakes up at 4 a.m. in the morning to join from India too. And so they are open for all, and it gets recorded on YouTube. So it is available. So if anybody wants to, make that as part of their daily practice. Okay.